All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is week 5 of our analogies. And this week we are doing analogies that are a characteristic of something and something that something lacks. So our focus, again, is on those characteristic and lack of analogies. And our objective is to be able to solve characteristic and lack of analogies correctly 8 out of 10 times. Remember, our goal is to solve them. We determine the relationship to help us solve them, but our goal is to solve them. And when we say solve, we mean like fill in the blank, like what word completes it. That's what that solve means. All right, so first we're going to talk about characteristic analogies. So characteristic analogies are basically like when I say a characteristic of the sun is that it's hot. So it'll be sun is to hot as blank is to blank. And as always, it can go both ways. So hot is to sun as whatever. But it's always something that is a characteristic or something that is true about that particular object. When we're solving these, if it's possible to stay in the same category, like when we contrast things and we want to stay in that same category, we need to. Sometimes it's not possible depending on the analogy, but if we can, if it gives you the color of something and you can give the color of something else, then you want to make sure you can do that. And we'll practice that a bit in the video. So your sentence frame for this is just a characteristic of whatever your object is that it's blank. If you can say that, then that's the type of analogy that it is. All right. So let's take a look at this. So we have coin is to round as desk is to. So if I'm trying to solve this, right now I know that they're all characteristic, but I would try my sentence frame and I would see if it fits. So a characteristic of a coin is that it's round. That fits. So that's a characteristic analogy. So they tell me the shape of a coin. So I'm going to see if I could give the shape of a desk. I know that a desk is rectangle in shape, but rectangle is not an adjective. It's not a describing word. So I would need to put it into like the adjective form. If I'm going to describe something, I'm going to say it's rectangular. So coin is to round as desk is to rectangular. And we really need to work on making sure that we're using the correct form of the word. We're in 6th grade. We can think about true and truth might mean the same thing, but they're different forms of the word. True is an adjective. Truth is the noun form of it. All right, now I want you to try. So you've got warrior is to blank as grump is to cranky. So a grump, a characteristic of a grump is that they are cranky. So what is a characteristic of a warrior? A characteristic of a warrior is that they are brave is what you should have said. Hopefully you said brave or fearless or something like that. All right. Soup is too hot as pillow is too. So soup is to hot. A characteristic of soup is that it's hot. Pillow doesn't really have a temperature. So I can't necessarily stay in that same category of talking about temperature. So I'm going to use something that makes sense for a pillow. So a characteristic of soup is that it's hot. A characteristic of pillow is that it's, hopefully you said something like soft or fluffy. You should not have given a temperature word here. This is not one where you could stay in the same category. All right. Doe is to female as blank is to male. So a doe, that's a female deer. So a characteristic of a doe is that it's female. A characteristic of a blank is that it's male. Since I'm talking about a deer, I'm going to see if I can stay in that same category. And I know that a male deer is called a, hopefully you said buck. Doe is to female as buck is to male. All right. Circus is to blank as bridge is to sturdy. You see if you can do that. So for this one, bridge is to sturdy. A characteristic of a bridge is that it's sturdy. That's kind of the point of it. Sturdy, we can drive across it. That's just a typical describing word. It's not necessarily a color or a shape or anything like that. So I'm just going to use a describing word for a circus. I chose entertaining. Hopefully you chose something similar. Clown would not have worked there. All right. Flamingo is to blank as grass is to green. What do you think? Pink, very good. Hopefully that's what you picked. Grass is to green. They give me the color of grass. So you want to give me the color of a flamingo, pink. All right, so that's characteristic analogies. I'm going to try and stay in the same category if I can. If I can't, then that's okay. But if I can, then I need to. It would be incorrect if I don't. All right. Lack of analogies are our next type. And this is kind of characteristic, but in reverse. So lack of analogies, these have relationships between an adjective, a describing word, and then a noun. So in lack of analogies, you have to maintain the proper word form. So an adjective lacks a noun. That's always what it's going to be. Adjective describing word, and then a noun. You might have to look up the definitions of some words this week, guys. That's something that you are allowed to do and we encourage you to do. So your sentence frames for these is something that is blank, an adjective, lacks, and then the noun. And then some or someone. So it's either someone or something that is blank, a describing word, and then what noun they lack. All right, so let's look at these. Yep, hang tight. Okay, there we go. Let's look at these. So here I have my lack of analogies. So remember, it's going to be an adjective, something or someone that is blank, lacks blank. So something that is ugly, it's an ugly sweater, lacks beauty. Ugly is an adjective. I could say an ugly sweater. Beauty is a thing. I cannot put beautiful here. Beauty is the noun form of it, the person, the place, or thing. I could say an ugly sweater. I can't say a beauty sweater. I need the noun form. So something that is ugly lacks beauty. Something that is serious lacks, well, if I'm thinking, if I say, guys, it's time to be serious, I expect you to stop like joking. So something that is serious, I can't put lacks joking, because that's not a noun. I would say something that is serious lacks humor. If this is a serious situation, we should not be putting humor into it. All right, so now you're going to try. So someone or something that is poor lacks blank. Someone that is humble lacks arrogance. So this might be, if you don't know these words, this would be an instance where you might need to look up those words. Humble means you don't think too much of yourself. And then arrogance is like when someone has way too much pride in themselves, the act of having too much pride in yourself. So someone that is humble, they don't think too much of themselves, they lack arrogance. So that's my sentence frame. So someone that is poor lacks money is, sorry, I don't know why that looks like that. Money is what you should have put. Someone that is poor lacks money. All right, here's that word again. Notice arrogance is the noun form. Now I have arrogant. That's the adjective. If someone has arrogance, I say that they are arrogant. That's how I would describe them. So someone who is arrogant lacks modesty. Modesty is when you aren't just willing to put yourself and show yourself off. If I'm modest, that's the describing word. I have modesty. I'm not willing to show myself off. So someone who is arrogant lacks modesty. Someone who is greedy lacks, what do they lack? If they're greedy, what do they not have? You should have had something like generosity. Generous wouldn't work. Generosity. All right, next one. Trivial is to importance as blank is to novelty. So a couple words we might not know here. If we were doing a practice, we'd need to look these up. Trivial, like Trivial Pursuit, the game, if something is trivial, it means it's not that important. And if something is a novelty, it means it's new and fresh. So trivial, something that is trivial, lacks importance. It's a trivial matter. It does not have importance. So something that is blank lacks novelty, lacks newness. What lacks newness? Something that is familiar would make sense here. Or you might have had old or something like that. Something that is familiar lacks novelty. All right, let's try the next one. We have blank is to complexity as calm is to worry. Now, sometimes we're going to see these and we're going to think that these are antonyms, but calm is not the opposite of worry. Calm is an adjective, someone that is calm. Worry is a noun. So it can also be a verb, but calm, someone that is calm lacks worry. They're not worrying about anything. They don't have a worry. So something that is blank lacks complexity. Complexity means like something is very involved. All right, so what would you put there? Something that is blank lacks complexity. Simple is what you should have. Something that is simple lacks complexity. All right, last one. Clean and dirt. Again, we're going to think these are antonyms, but dirty is the antonym of clean, not dirt. So it's not an antonym. If it looks like an antonym, but they're not the same word form, it's probably a lack of. So something that is clean lacks dirt. My house is clean, it lacks dirt. It's probably not clean right now, but should be. Someone that is cheerful lacks what noun? Do not put an adjective. What noun? Sadness is what you should have had. Sadness or another noun form of that. It cannot be something that is not a noun. All right, so that's lack of analogies. How'd you do? These are a little more involved. That's why we started with the more straightforward ones, and then these get a little more involved. So you've got characteristic analogies and lack of analogies this week. Let me know how you did. Let me know if you have any celebrations or anything. We like to see those. Anything that you need help with, we're happy to help. Guys, the biggest thing this week is going to be making sure you know what words mean and making sure that you're using the correct form of them. Bye. See you soon.